I missed my son's birthday call for the first time in 38 years. Or at least, that's what I believed until I saw a photograph that shouldn't have existed. He was smiling, holding a birthday cake, surrounded by friends and family, while I sat alone beside my silent phone wondering if he'd forgotten me. Then I noticed something even stranger. The sweater he was wearing was the one I had mailed him 2 weeks earlier with a handwritten note tucked inside the box. He had the sweater, but somehow he never got my letter. Before I could make sense of that, another message appeared on my screen, one that made my stomach tighten in a way I still can't explain. It wasn't from my son. It was from my daughter-in-law, and it simply read, "Daniel has been very busy. Please stop making him feel guilty." I had never contacted Daniel that day, so how could she know I had been waiting? That question stayed with me long after I put my phone down. Looking back now, I realized that morning was not the beginning of my heartbreak. It was only the first crack in a wall someone had been quietly building between my son and me for years. My name is Margaret Bennett. I'm 67 years old, a retired elementary school librarian from Ohio, and until recently, I believed that if you loved your children enough, nothing could come between you. I couldn't have been more wrong. My birthday had arrived on a cool October morning, the kind where golden leaves drifted across the front yard, and the smell of fresh coffee made an empty house feel almost warm. I wasn't expecting expensive gifts or a crowded celebration. I only wanted to hear my son's voice, the same cheerful "Happy birthday, Mom" that had been part of my life for as long as I could remember. I baked a small apple pie anyway, set out 2 plates without thinking, and kept glancing at the clock every few minutes, telling myself that he was probably caught in traffic, tied up in a meeting, or simply waiting until dinner to surprise me. The afternoon slipped quietly toward evening, and with every passing hour I found another excuse for the silence. Daniel had always been responsible. Even as a little boy, he would call if he was running 10 minutes late coming home from baseball practice. That was simply who he was. So I refused to believe that he had forgotten me. Around 5 o'clock, I warmed the coffee I had already poured twice. The apple pie sat untouched on the kitchen counter, filling the house with cinnamon and butter, while the second plate remained exactly where I had placed it. I picked up my phone more times than I cared to admit, checking the signal, checking the battery, checking for a missed call that was never there. Then I opened social media, hoping to distract myself for a few minutes. Instead, I froze. Emily had posted a cheerful family photo only 30 minutes earlier. Daniel stood beside her, laughing as they celebrated a friend's birthday dinner across town. He looked relaxed, happy, completely unaware that I had spent the entire day waiting to hear his voice. Hundreds of comments wished everyone a wonderful evening. Yet there was no mention of my birthday. I started to wonder if Daniel had simply forgotten. But deep inside, another thought quietly settled into my heart. My son had never forgotten before. If something had changed, perhaps it was not his memory that had changed at all. The next morning I convinced myself that I was being unreasonable. One forgotten birthday did not erase a lifetime of love. Daniel had been working longer hours ever since his company expanded, and I knew how demanding that could be. Still, something inside me refused to settle. I decided to call him after breakfast, hoping to hear his familiar voice and laugh about the misunderstanding. The phone rang only once before Emily answered. Her tone was warm, almost rehearsed. She told me Daniel had already left for an early meeting and would call me later. I thanked her and hung up, although a small detail stayed with me. Daniel had always answered his own phone. Even during busy days, he would at least send a quick message saying he would return my call. This time there was nothing. 2 days passed, then 4. Every attempt ended the same way. Emily answered, Emily explained. Emily promised he would call soon. I never questioned her because trust had always been the foundation of our family. Yet I began noticing little things that no longer fit together. Friends mentioned seeing Daniel around town. His social media showed quiet weekends that somehow never included a visit to my house. The distance between us had not appeared overnight. It had been growing so slowly that I had mistaken it for ordinary life until the silence became impossible to ignore. I spent the next week telling myself that families naturally changed as children built lives of their own. I repeated that thought every morning while watering the roses my late husband had planted 30 years earlier. They still bloomed faithfully every spring, never missing a season, and somehow they reminded me of Daniel. He had been just as dependable. When he was 10 years old, he insisted on walking across the yard every Mother's Day with a single daisy he had picked himself because he believed flowers meant more when they came from the heart. That memory refused to leave me. The son who remembered handmade cards, surprise breakfasts, and every anniversary could not suddenly become someone who forgot his own mother without a reason. One Thursday afternoon, I stopped by the local grocery store, and my neighbor Grace Wilson waved as she loaded bags into her car. She smiled warmly and asked, "Margaret, did Daniel enjoy the pumpkin bread you sent over yesterday?" I stared at her, confused. I had not sent anything. Grace looked equally surprised. She hesitated before saying that she had seen Daniel's car parked outside my street only the day before. According to her, he stayed for less than 5 minutes before driving away. I had been home the entire afternoon. No one had knocked. No one had called. For the first time, the quiet pieces of my life stopped looking like coincidences and started forming a pattern I could no longer ignore. Grace apologized if she had confused the dates, but I could tell from her face that she believed every word she had said. She even described the blue pickup truck Daniel had driven since college, right down to the small dent near the rear bumper that had never been repaired. There was no mistake. After we said goodbye, I sat in my car for several minutes without turning the key. I replayed every conversation I had shared with Emily over the past year. Each one sounded perfectly polite. Each one ended with the same reassurance that Daniel was busy, tired, traveling, or planning to visit soon. None of those explanations had seemed unusual on their own. Together, they suddenly felt carefully arranged. That evening, I searched through old text messages and emails, not because I expected to find anything shocking, but because I needed to quiet the growing doubt in my heart. Instead, I noticed a pattern I had never paid attention to before. Whenever I asked Daniel a direct question, the reply arrived with phrases that did not sound like him. They were formal, brief, and strangely distant. My son had always ended his messages with a joke, a smile, or the words, "Love you, Mom." Those simple words had slowly disappeared, one message at a time. I still wanted to believe there was an innocent explanation, but for the first time, I stopped asking whether something was wrong and started asking who had been standing between us all along. The following Monday, I did something I had never imagined I would do. Instead of calling Daniel again, I opened a notebook and began writing down dates. Every missed birthday call. Every holiday that ended with a last-minute cancellation. Every message that felt unlike the son who had once filled my mailbox with handwritten cards from summer camp, because he thought one letter a week was not enough. As the pages filled, I realized the changes had not started months ago. They stretched back nearly 3 years. There was always a reason, always a polite explanation, always one more promise that we would spend time together soon. Yet soon never arrived. That afternoon I checked my email and found a receipt confirming that the birthday package with the sweater had been delivered exactly when expected. Daniel had received the box. The tracking number proved it. But the handwritten note was never mentioned. Not even once. I quietly wondered whether he had actually seen it. I folded the receipt into my notebook beside a printout of Emily's message and decided that I would not accuse anyone or jump to conclusions. Feelings could be questioned. Memories could fade. Facts could not. If something had been happening behind the scenes, I would let the truth reveal itself one small piece at a time. 2 days later, something happened that I could not dismiss as bad timing or misunderstanding. I stopped by the neighborhood bakery just before noon to pick up a loaf of sourdough bread. As I walked toward my car, I caught sight of Daniel's blue pickup pulling into the parking lot across the street. My first instinct was to wave, but before I could take a single step, he parked beside Emily's SUV. She climbed out holding her phone, smiled, and showed him something on the screen. Almost immediately, Daniel reached into his pocket, looked at his own phone, frowned for a brief moment, and slipped it back without typing a single word. They drove away together less than a minute later, never noticing that I had been standing there. Later that evening, my phone buzzed. It was another message from Emily. She wrote that Daniel had been overwhelmed with meetings all day and felt terrible that he had not been able to answer anyone. I read the sentence 3 times. I had seen him with my own eyes. He had not been rushing between meetings. He had not looked exhausted. He had simply looked normal. For the first time, I did not feel angry. I felt calm. calm enough to understand that guessing would only create more confusion. If the truth existed, it would leave footprints. From that moment on, I decided I would stop chasing explanations and start paying attention to evidence. The evidence grew quietly, almost politely, as though the truth understood it did not need to shout. One Saturday morning, I stopped by the post office to ask about a package I had mailed a few weeks earlier. The clerk smiled, entered the tracking number, and confirmed that it had been delivered directly into Daniel's hands. I thanked her and walked back to my car with a strange mixture of relief and confusion. If he had received the package, then he had also received my handwritten letter. I had filled those pages with nothing more than birthday wishes, memories from his childhood, and an invitation to Sunday dinner. There had been nothing that could have offended anyone, yet he had never mentioned reading it. That evening, I opened my notebook again and slipped the delivery receipt beside the printed messages I had saved. As I looked across the growing collection of dates, screenshots, and receipts, a pattern became impossible to ignore. Every road leading to Daniel seemed to pass through Emily first. Every unanswered call, every canceled visit, every forgotten celebration carried the same quiet shadow. I still refused to believe my son would intentionally push me away. The young man I had raised with kindness and honesty was still somewhere beneath the silence. The question that remained was whether he even knew how completely that silence had been carefully arranged around him. By the end of that week, I made a promise to myself that changed everything. I would not confront Emily. I would not pressure Daniel. I would not allow hurt feelings to speak louder than the truth. Instead, I placed every receipt, every screenshot, every delivery confirmation, and every message into a single folder that rested quietly inside my desk drawer. Each evening I added another page, not because I wanted to prove someone wrong, but because I wanted to protect the memories that no longer matched the story I was being told. Oddly enough, the more carefully I observed, the less frightened I became. The confusion that had filled my heart was slowly being replaced by clarity. If Daniel truly believed I had stopped reaching out, then he deserved to know otherwise. If he had never seen my letters, my invitations, or my messages, then someday those missing pieces would have to find their way back to him. I could not force that day to come, but I could be ready when it did. As I closed the folder and turned off the kitchen light, I realized something important. The wall between a mother and her son had not been built in a single afternoon. It had been built one quiet brick at a time, and somewhere beyond that wall, the first crack was already beginning to appear.